For our next speaker, please welcome to the stage Brother Christian Montgomery, Michigan, class of 2009. He'll be talking about how he saved a life and how each and every one of you in this room can as well. Welcome to the stage, Brother Christian.
Thanks. Can we hear me okay? All right, excellent. Wonderful job, Tyler. I feel a little ashamed about my major in underwater basket weaving now, but thank you nonetheless. My name is Christian Montgomery. I graduated from the University of Michigan in 2009. In the fall of 2005 is when I rushed and joined Delta Upsilon. I'm very proud to be a Wolverine. I'm very proud to be a brother of Delta Upsilon. And I'm also very proud that DU played a role in the single greatest achievement in my life, which is in junior year, I saved the life of a dying 22-year-old woman by donating my bone marrow. And I'm talking to you about it today, not only because I want to brag about it, but because you also deserve the same opportunity that I had. And I'm excited to share how DU was a part of that. Okay, so registering as a bone marrow donor, it was never something I actually sought to do. It was something I did sophomore year, though, and the opportunity came up sort of serendipitously. I was walking through the main quad, and this heroic tale starts with not a burning building, not a flash flood, but rather Spanish 232. It's not that exciting, I admit, but I was walking across the main quad that morning, and somebody flagged me down. They yelled out my name. It's Tuesday at 8:30. Who could this possibly be? I turn and I look, and it's actually freshman Tom Duval, a kid I had met because he was rushing our house. And nice guy, and with the recruitment chair's words echoing in my head, you know, be nice to the guys, show them what you're all about and everything like that, and certainly in no rush to get to Spanish, I gave him a few minutes of my time. And the first words out of his mouth were, hey, are you a bone marrow donor? And I was unprepared for that, to say the least. But I gave him a few minutes. And in a few minutes, he told me, oh, yeah, it's really easy. You just do a cheek swab, and then you're added to the registry of potential donors. You know, you'll probably never get a call, but even if you do, most times you just donate through the blood now, and even the bone's not that bad. Now, again, I had never sought this opportunity out, but I knew my parents had been on the registry, and you know, I try to give blood when I can. And so I did the cheek swab. Now, if this were a movie, this is where those words, you'll probably never get a call, would echo until a year and a half later when I got the call. I got that call, and they were like, you're a match for a 22-year-old woman who lives in New Jersey who's suffering from paroxysmal nocturnal hemoglobinuria. If you have heard of this disease, I wish you the best of luck on your MCAT. It's a 1 in 2 million blood disorder, most of the time not fatal, but for this particular woman, it was. And she was told that if she didn't receive a bone marrow transplant in 3 months, she would die. Now, I will admit this was not a huge emotional pull on me. This was very rational. If I had the chance to save somebody's life for a few minutes or a few days of discomfort or something like that, sure, you do it. And so I did it. And despite all the myths and the misconceptions about donating, it was actually quite easy. I went into the hospital in the morning at 7 a.m. I was put under general anesthesia for a couple hours, and marrow was extracted from the backside of my pelvic bone while I was asleep. I woke up, felt like I had slept in a strange position. I'll admit I was a little sore, but it wasn't excruciating. It was just, it was like a dull, achy soreness, as if I had fallen on my backside. I went home the same day. I rested for a few days, took some basic painkillers, and was back to work in a week, no problem. It was incredibly easy. And you know, all I was left with were 4 little tiny dimples just below my waistline, which you can't really see anyways unless I wear my low-rise jeans, which I quit doing after I gained the freshman 45. So anyways, I donated, and then I went on. And then my life continued. Coincidentally, the Michigan house that burned down, that was the same week. Please don't associate these two events together. You will not save somebody's life and then have your house burned down. But anyways, I donated, and then I went on, and I got a 1 month, a 6 month, and a 1 year update about this person. And you know, it was kind of cool having this stranger out here. I had no idea who she was, but I had saved her life. And I was happy to hear that each time I got an update, she was doing well. But it didn't really hit me what I had done for somebody until I actually met her. She didn't live too far from my aunt on the East Coast, so it was convenient enough for me to go meet her in person. And when I was sitting down to lunch with her, and she had her family on either side of her, and she drops this probably 10-pound, 6-inch thick scrapbook in the middle of the table and says, "These were the last 4 years." And she opens it up. And this is everything from when she was initially diagnosed. She was misdiagnosed. She was put on steroids. She gained a bunch of weight, and then she lost a bunch of weight. She battled fevers. She battled depression. And then she went through chemotherapy. She lost all her hair. You can imagine what that must have been like for a 19, 20-year-old woman. And then there was all the peripheral stuff. There was the community-wide yard sales. There were the motorcycle rides. There were the spaghetti dinners. All these things you hear about somebody else. And this was all just to keep the fight going for her. This entire thing was just to keep her alive. And then at the end of it, she closes the book and she's like, "Thank you. You gave me that victory." And that's when it really hit me what I did. And again, I don't share all of this with you to brag. I share it with you because you deserve that same opportunity. As DU men, as someone who is looking to better yourself, you deserve a chance to be somebody's hero like I was. Now, blood cancer it's very important to register as a bone marrow donor because you have the chance to help directly. There are 10,000 people in the United States who could benefit from a transplant every year. Only 5,000 of those people will actually get the transplant from the match that they need. And it's because there aren't enough people on the registry. There aren't enough people on the registry, and so we have half of those people dying. You guys can change that. As DU men, you should want to change that because when you frame the idea of bone marrow donation against the founding principles, you'll see that it's sort of a no-brainer. You want to talk about justice? There are few things as unjust as being diagnosed with cancer. Think about that. You don't ask for it. You don't know you might get it. It could be something as simple as developing some bruises, and then you go in and find out that your platelet count is just too low. For my patient, her urine was a different color. That was a surprise. There are only ultimate victims with cancer. You have a chance to bring some help to an ultimately unjust situation. If you want to talk about the diffusion of liberal culture, what we take to be intellectualism and enlightenment and the pursuit of knowledge, one of the greatest hindrances to saving more lives and getting more people on the registry is that people are afraid because they are ignorant. Most people don't know that registering is as easy as a cheek swab. Most people don't know that 70% of donations now are like donating platelets or plasma. And even the other 30% of the time, you receive general anesthesia, you're sore for a few days, and then you're good to go. That's not so bad when you consider the reward on the other end. And if you want to talk about character, I want you to think about bravery. I understand that some of you may be afraid. I understand that people might be afraid of needles, afraid of a few days of pain. I get that. But I want you to think about the fear and the pain involved with a mother who could be looking at their child for one of the last few times. I want you to think about the fear and the pain of a father who has a family that he cares for, but he knows he may not be around to care for them much longer. And I want you to think about the fear and the pain of an 18-year-old student who had just wrapped up his freshman year and was diagnosed in late March, and knowing that his 19th birthday was over the summer, but he might not see it, and he might not get his sophomore year. Who wants to talk about the fear of needles or the fear of pain at this point? You guys have the opportunity, by registering as a bone marrow donor, to be somebody's hero, to be the hero for someone of any age, of any race, of any creed. This affects everything from grandmas and grandparents down to little bitty babies. Blood cancer is the #1 disease killer of children in the United States. And you guys can help it. You guys can help it for two good reasons. You're right in the wheelhouse. One, 18 to 24-year-olds are responsible for 50% of the transplants out there. That's incredible. When would you have another time in your entire life to do something as amazing as save somebody? And the second thing is the National Registry, all 18 million people, only 30% of the National Registry is made up of men. You should feel upset at this point. You should feel a little bit of fire in you. Men are missing a great opportunity to man up to cancer, to lead the charge against a terrible disease, something that affects and makes victims of so many. You can be part of that solution, and I want you to do that. I want you to go back, and I want you to look how you can register online at getswab.org. I want you to consider taking this to your fraternity brothers. We're able to provide 5,000 matches a year using only 2% of the U.S. population. And I'm willing to bet the majority of you are not on the registry. What could we do if every single freshman class for DU came in and registered immediately? What could we do if every single fraternity brother of ours was on that list? How many lives could we save every single year? And that list would just grow and grow and grow. And that would be a truly amazing thing. I want you to register yourself. I want you to talk to your brothers and get those myths and misconceptions out of the way so they feel comfortable registering. And I want you to, even consider doing something at your school. If you look, we've talked about service this entire LI. I want you to think about, how many lifesavers could I possibly bring on my campus? If you want to do that, please come after me. I'll be happy to set you up and make sure that you're in position to do something amazing like that. And as I wrap up, I just want to say, when I met with my patient, and I had this wonderful experience, and I learned really the difference, the second chance I had provided for her and the difference I made in her life at so minimal inconvenience to myself. The craziest thing of all is that, I thought back to when I registered. And if I take a different route to class, if I don't go to class, which was possible, if my friend Tom, who ended up joining DU, if he signs up for the afternoon shift instead of the morning shift, I never would have signed up, and there would be a woman in New Jersey who's dead. A young, beautiful woman, her life extinguished. All because of that one moment, me passing through the quad, is that woman still alive. 4 years removed from transplant, she still texts me every anniversary of that transplant. That could be you. I had that moment. I hope that this moment is the reason that you go on to save a grandmother, a mother, a father, a child. Thanks for letting me speak to you guys.